Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War event objectives for the Eagle Has Landed event, in which the Ehecatl is added to the game. So this week brings a ton of really good new troops. We technically got 3 of them today, though technically 2, technically 3, depends how you look at it. But they are all insanely good, especially the cheaper ones. So yeah, let's start getting into them, as they are pretty much the most relevant thing, and they now allow for a new 4x yellow team, not just for this Guild War, but just for like everything going forward, for Tower of Doom, for absolutely anything you need. Plus, you can get a bunch of free red yellow arcanes this week. And by free, I mean 200 glory each. But anyways, as far as this first troop, we've actually seen this somewhat before, but it's even better than it. We've seen this with green, I believe, where we end up having Empower into a green that also creates a storm. However, of course, this is the yellow version of it. It has an extra benefit of also summoning the storm at the start of battle. So not only do you have the storm at start of battle, though in all fairness, there are so many ways to do that off of Stryx, but this will be quite a bit of a benefit doing it off of Stryx if you're not building pure Stryx teams. So this week you're primarily building pure Stryx teams. But you have the Empower, you have this yellow storm at start of battle, you can convert all blues to yellow, and then if you didn't already have enough storms, you also then get to convert into another light storm. So if you somehow got overwritten on your light storm, well, you have yet another one to go use. So this has so much potential, both in pure Stryx teams and outside of pure Stryx teams. Outside of pure Stryx teams, it'll have an absurd amount of yellow storm that you'll basically be able to perpetually keep without needing to use the hero class. And within Stryx teams, well, it will have really good synergy with 4x Stryx, which is really relevant due to the new Journey troop that we end up getting today, which I will go over next as is decently relevant. So if we go over to the guild events, we have 2 this week, Guild Wars and Journey. Though the more relevant one by far is the Journey event, in which we get the Egris. So this thing is absolutely insane. It's pretty similar to, you know, infinite loop Journey troops that we've had in the past. But just the synergy that this overall has is just so good. Stryx was already a really heavy yellow-based kingdom, and already has a billion ways to do it. It has a hero that has Perpetual Yellow Storm. It literally just got Empower today that has yellow at start of battle and Empower into another yellow storm, into feeding it even more yellow. And of course, it creates more yellow based on every single Stryxer in our team, and there's a decent handful of really good Stryxes out there. Particularly under the Mythic category, we have Phoenicia, we have Quetzalma, a lot of great synergy troops for this thing. And it is shinyable. Unlike some of the ones that we've had in the past, this one is indeed shinyable. Well, a lot of the more recent ones have been shinyable. However, this one is too, and that is pretty relevant, as you'll be able to lower down its mana cost and get one whole additional gem spawn. As far as doing that, I might as well go show one single level here. We're not going to do all of it right now, but if you haven't already been, you can hoard all your shiny keys for when there is a good shiny in the drop table. And this week is definitely 100% a day or a week where there is a good shiny in the drop table. We should be able to go get the bird right here. Let's hope it actually does the right one. It should. And we should see some amount of birds here, hopefully, unless we got unlucky. Looks like we didn't get it here. However, we do have a pretty good chance of getting it. We will eventually get it here. There it is. Wait, did we just get all 5 Egrises in one drop? Wait, did we get one drop with 5? That is possible. It does give you a lot, but there it is. Oh, that look. Oh, wow. I like this thing so much more. It has my favorite color when it's shiny. Oh, this thing just got like 1,000 times better. It was already the meta. Now it became more meta. As much as I used the dragon before, we're about to use this thing like just as much, if not more. That looks so nice. But yeah, as far as shinying it, there we go. We have these odds right here. It's a 20% chance, and you get either... It looks like we rolled both the 2 and the 3 there, it looks like. We rolled a 3% to get 3, and we rolled a 7% to get 2 for the 5 total that we end up getting there. And as far as shiny levels are concerned, if we go check the troop itself over here, typing in Egris, as far as what it gets, other than the cool shininess there, as far as its levels, it gets -1 mana cost, bringing it from 12 to 11 for its first upgrade. At the second upgrade, it doesn't say it here, which it would in-game, but it does get 1 additional yellow spawn. So by default, it normally does 3 plus 3 per Stryx. This will make it so it's 4 plus 3 per Stryx. So basically just 1 extra base gem just by default. Not per ratio, but just 1 single standard one, which, you know, still adds to its extra turn chance. And if you get it max shiny, which I don't advise doing, though it is good enough that you might want to consider it. I'm personally not, though. I'm just going to get it to shiny level 2 later. However, if you do happen to get it to shiny level 3, it will go down to a 10 mana cost instead of 11. So I do advise aiming for that too if you have the resources to do so. But honestly, even just getting the free -1, if you want to get some for super free, all you have to do is just partake in the Journey event, and you will get some by the end of it. All the way over here, you'll end up getting 5 of that token, so do put that into your consideration for however far you plan on upgrading it, as you will get 5, assuming your guild can get to stage 14 in Journey event. As far as Journey is concerned, you play it pretty much the same as you always would, just take bigger number, restricted to pure Stryx, so just build anything around that. Primarily building around Egris into the Ehecatl. As long as you use those two together, you should be good to go. It doesn't really matter too much what the rest of your team is. Just put whatever you have that will synergize with it. As that is basically all you need to auto-win. Just make sure everything you're using is Stryx. Though I guess it kind of has to be because there's troop restriction to Stryx, so you'd kind of be forced to have to use it anyways. So it works out. Anyways, other things that we have going on. Let's go to the event key drop table. Is it worth opening? Yes. There are a few really good things, though there are a lot of things not in drop table, so let's go over that first. So, here is the extended list of things not in drop table this week for the event key drop table. These include the Doom of Light, which is only from Yellow Doom. The 4 troops from the Stonesong Eyrie faction. Those are from using Chaos Shards on Stonesong Eyrie and Underworld. The Egris. This is only from the World event this week. Or sorry, not World event. Yeah, World event. Journey event. That one. It's only from the Journey event this week. So if you are going to get it, you can only get it from getting copies from there. And the other one that is not in drop table is the Red Gem Dragon, which are from the random dragon eggs, and you will hopefully RNG into it at some point, or get a billion copies of it more than you ever need. So that basically means the main thing that you're looking for if you open event keys are one of these two, either Phoenicia or Quetzalma. Phoenicia still to this day has the strongest AoE in the entire game if you don't have Diamantina yet. So if you've been going dry on one of the Gem Dragons or just haven't bothered doing that grind yet, Phoenicia is your best physical damage full AoE cast in the game, ignoring Diamantina. If you don't have Diamantina yet, that's your best option. Aside from that, Quetzalma is probably the main thing you're looking for. Has absurdly good synergy with the new combo we have today, with the new Empower Troop into the Egris. This ends up doing a bunch of scatter damage, boosted by the Chosen Gem at 3 times per gem destroyed. But it then ends up creating 10 additional yellow. So you're almost always going to extra turn with this, especially on a board that already has a lot of yellow, which you easily will have from casting Egris. Counts as a Stryx, of course, so it counts as a pure Stryx team. And there's a small chance if it ends up dying that it has the 20% Resurrect. And if you somehow don't already have Lightstorm on your team, you have another Lightstorm, though you'll probably have that off the new Empower guy. So you'll most likely have the Ehecatl on your team, so you'll most likely get it from that. If you are going to be opening the normal keys this week, as in Glory Gem Guild or VIP chest, keep in mind until this Friday, reset time, so basically the end of Thursday, you will still get in the new mythic we had last Friday. We covered a video on that last Friday. If I could figure out what tab it is in all this mess. I'm so used to the event tab being over there. But if we go over here, we can see the new mythic still around. It doesn't have a timer, but it's basically Friday reset time or end of Thursday. So unfortunately, no timer here, but you know, about 3.5 days or so. And you'll be able to go and still get that if you still want it. Otherwise, save your keys until after the fact. Aside from that, what other things do we have going on? So I mentioned the Guild War, but of course, make sure you set your Guild War teams. Same thing as always, just use pure color team. Of course, we got a new meta for Yellow Day. Oh, wow, we get to try that immediately. I didn't realize. Yellow Day's already tomorrow, at least on PC Mobile. It's slightly different if you're on console. I'm not sure why, but it is different for each platform separately. As the way that it rolls is different for each. But on PC Mobile, it is indeed Yellow Day tomorrow. And that means we can already go try the new team. Yeah, make sure that every single one of your defend teams are completely unique. And you can easily tell by this saying 12,000 points. As long as it says 12,000, you're pretty much good to go on defend teams. Ideally, you want them to be strong defend teams, but honestly, as long as it says 12,000, you're pretty much good to go. And then just make sure to use a pure color team for every single one of the days, like tomorrow, where we'll use a 4 times yellow team in order to maximize our points. And we have a specific one to go show for that, too, a little bit later during this video when we go show all of the teams. Anyways, so we went over those, we went over that. Before I forget, let's go over the... actually, I didn't even reorder them yet. But let's go over the trial team. So, as far as trials, it's a little bit better than what we had before. We have a Sunbird Infinite Tank. This thing basically resurrects when it dies. It will come in with slightly lower magic. Well, then again, as long as you have at least 20 magic, it will come in at full. So never mind, it'll just keep resurrecting over and over again. So you have like an infinite tank there they can end up using. You have damage to all enemies, which you probably want to keep in a slightly safer location. This gives a bunch of life and attack to an ally, cleanse them. Okay, so this you basically don't care too much about. You're mostly using this as a buffer to make sure that stays alive. And this thing just gives a bunch of armor and barrier to itself. And if the storm is active, barrier all other allies. What will we have storm off of, though? Wait, what on this team is storming every time? Lost all other allies. Create a light storm when my turn begins. Oh, never mind. We have perpetual yellow storm off of this. I forgot. Not only does the Stryx hero class have perpetual yellow storm, but we also end up having it from this legend. The High Priestess Chazanza. Normally you would use the hero instead, but in this context, yeah, you have Conjure Lightstorm when its turn begins every single turn. And I don't believe there's any way that you can get stunned there, so you're pretty much good to go already. So you'll have that boost ratio every single time for barrier and all. So honestly, this seems like a really easy week for getting this event done. You can go down either 2 routes. You can go and super buff the Taldic and just make it unkillable. Or you can just AoE chip them down and use your Sunbird as like an infinite tank up front. but all your buff on Tezca and Todek would, basically go into the Todek. And then Sunbird, just you keep reviving, so it just never dies. And if it does die, your Todek will have like 1 billion attack damage due to this giving it a bunch of life and attack every time you end up clicking on it. And yeah, not too bad. This should end up working out pretty well. Nice. All right. Well, one of the easier weeks then. We don't have resummon, unfortunately, but it has enough bulk and barrier and everything else that it should be fine. Plus the chip damage off the AoE. Anyways, this is a second to last week of campaign. However, one thing we'll be going over later tonight, which I can't go over right now as I haven't bothered getting it yet, is this is pretty much right at reset time. And that is the Chronos. If you have the bigger pass, you can get it today. If you have the standard pass, you can get it 1 week from today. And if you're playing free-to-play or just didn't get this pass this season, you'll have to wait a couple months, probably like March or so next year, maybe April. Sometime around there, it'll probably be the first instance you can end up picking up this thing. But this is yet another troop that came out today, technically. It deals a bunch of damage to all enemies, so standard full AoE damage, and then converts all blues to Hourglass Gems, which is where most of its value comes from. Biggest downside, it does not use yellow, and of course Hourglass Gems are yellow. Biggest upside is that's a lot of Hourglass Gems, so using this with Daughter of Time with some kind of other synergy where you can get enough mana to cycle back in it does have potential. I haven't actually tested this yet to really see how good it's going to be compared to the 2 troops we got today. For how low a rarity they are, I would definitely say the other 2 are better. But it still has potential. I feel like the biggest downside of this is going to have a Fountain of Stars issue, where Fountain of Stars had a really good ability and premise, but was held back by its final trait as well as the fact that it didn't feed mana back to itself. And I feel like this is going to have the exact same issue. It doesn't feed mana back to itself with its main gimmick, and it enchants all allies when it... Oh, never mind. Actually, its final trait is actually really good. I forgot. You might actually use it just for that in some situations. Never mind. It does actually have a good final trait. The other one had an inconsistent one because it was like, oh, it's just pure RNG if you get the Bless. But no, this has guarantee 4 times enchant. I forgot. This isn't percent base. It's literally guaranteed. It's basically Mistralis, but your whole team at once. It has a lot of potential, especially for things that actually have enchant boost ratio. I don't feel like you'd primarily use it for enchant. You're mostly using it for its Hourglass, but it is something to consider when using this thing. 4 times enchant your entire team, which is, of course, 2 mana per turn. So even if you lose your turn, you're getting 8 mana across your entire team, which, has quite a bit of potential, especially with how many extra turn potential you have with Hourglass Gems. Though in theory, the Hourglass Gems are kind of redundant to the enchant, as if you're constantly getting extra turns from Hourglass Gems, you're not getting any value from enchant. So a little bit of a weird mix there, but definitely has some potential going forward. So it's mostly just one that's going to need testing. It's definitely not as straightforward as the 2 other troops we got today, that's for sure, as far as how you would build around it, as the other 2 have a very direct path as to what they want to do. Anyways, as far as other events we have going on this week, oh yeah, we have the Christmas event coming around the corner. I believe we were originally supposed to have an update this week. However, I'm pretty sure it's getting moved to next week's Tuesday at the earliest, because I am pretty confident we do not have a patch tomorrow. And if we do, gosh, this is a busy week. However, I'm pretty sure it's going to be next week's Tuesday, most likely, give or take a week. Could be this week, could be next week, could be the following week, but I'm pretty sure it is next week's Tuesday. As far as next patch, we don't really have a confirmation on that quite yet. But anyways, but yeah, this is probably going to happen in 13 days, 23 hours. It says so in game, so let's hope so. Anyways, aside from that, Tuesday, we have Stonesong Eyrie. Has quite a few good troops there. They can get them whenever. Pretty easy faction overall. Just keep spamming AoE and keep resummoning over and over again. Overall, pretty easy faction. Brown-yellow restriction, so you have access to quite a few pretty good mana accumulators like Bork, as well as the new guys. You can literally just run the new Egris into the other guy, the Empower that we got today, and you'll be good to go. This Wednesday, if you don't already have it maxed or don't even have it to begin with, the Stryx bonus. A lot of restrictions this week are Stryx or pseudo-Stryx, even if it's Suncrest restriction is still basically a Stryx restriction as well, because pretty much the whole kingdom is Stryx. So you will be able to go get a bunch of value from that. Thursday class event, we have ourselves Stormcaller hero class. Its most noteworthy attribute is that it has perpetual yellow storm. It can be used in 4-time Stryx teams, and it's pretty much the only context it's really used in for the most part. Unless there's really a different team that you'd really want a lot of yellow perpetual storm on. However, the new Empower that we got today that both starts with yellow storm and empowers into yellow storm will probably just replace it in a lot of situations in teams where you might want a perpetual yellow storm, but it basically already does. It's not exactly perpetual, but it's close enough. And this Friday, we have ourselves Arena event, aka no event this weekend. Anyways, as far as Soulforge is concerned, speaking of nothing, there's also pretty much nothing in Soulforge this week. Pretty much just the standard, usual, just if you want to get it for completion's sake kind of stuff. Nothing I would say worth going out of your way for. And similar to weapons. So if you are going to go for weapons like Nimbus Bow or any of the ones that could synergize pretty well with Stryx, probably your way to go. For the most part, I don't really feel like you need it in 4-time Stryx teams these days with the new synergies that we have. However, it is definitely a route that can go down if you want to go build into it. It does cover some colors that the kingdom tends to be missing, aside from brown. However, it kind of fills that gap, so pretty nice in that regard. but I don't feel like it's really needed compared to the yellow spam that you can end up doing off of teams now. With that being said, let's start getting some teams, because they are kind of insane. I actually kind of want to show the Guild War one, too. We'll probably just test it on... Hey, I was just talking about Fountain of Stars. We'll probably just test it on this team right here. But anyways, let's start getting into teams. So, journey event. You're restricted specifically to stryx from... or just stryx. It has to be yellow stryx. So this does mean you are allowed to use finesse. You cannot use finesse for Underspire. Keep that in mind. However, you can run it for the journey event, because the journey event is yellow stryxes and not specifically Suncrest. And this is a stryx that is yellow, but it's from the Guardian's Kingdom. So it's not actually from Suncrest for a Suncrest restriction thing, so you can't use it on, for example, the Thursday class event. You also can't use it for Underspire, so do be mindful of that. But you can use it on Journey. You can also use it for Guild War. But yeah, the main combo for everything is going to be the Egris into the Ehecatl. This is going to be an insanely good combo going forward, and a lot of teams will be based around it. And if you can get your hands on a Quetzalma, it's even stronger. And then you just put one other utility troop that's very flexible for pretty much anything you want. You can go extra mana accumulation, you can go hero for safety, and just run like a pretty wide weapon there or something. Really just depends what you want to do. In this case, we're just running finesse for the extra damage. It's a final trait where it gives 4 to all skills to all stryx per extra turn, and you're going to be landing a lot of extra turns. So Egris, of course, infinite loop. As long as you have pure stryx team, especially if you get it shiny level 2, it is basically never going to stop as long as you don't get it frozen. Then you have the Ehecatl. This will end up doing the Light Storm as well as the blue to yellow convert, and on top of even more Light Storm if you don't have enough Light Storm. Speaking about Light Storm, did you not have enough Light Storm? Here's some more Light Storm. You also have another infinite loop, so if your Egris ever fails, you have basically a second Egris ready to go, just does its damage distribution. It's a little bit different. Can also get rid of a color that might be too prevalent, like let's say you keep doing the Egris and there's like 15 brown on the board for some reason, I don't know. Something happened, and you just want to remove them. There's like 12 of a gem. You can just do this, that'll get rid of the gem and then go back to using Egris. It also has a chance to revive occasionally with full mana, and can really get a lot of damage afterwards. The lower rarity team, obviously, you probably won't have the Mythic, so we're just running with Finesse still, using the Egris, Ehecatl combo. And even though Queen Zachi is a legend, it is a legend from a faction, so it is very easy to get. Not only does it have backup summon, a 35% chance to summon a pretty good mana accumulator every time you take an extra turn, assuming you have a dead spot open. It also gets full AoE damage, and even 5 explodes if you have a storm, and with how much yellow storm you have, you will probably have a storm. Next, we have ourselves the, and even if you don't, the Harpy Mage she summoned actually gives Brown Storm as well. So even if you somehow lose your Stormer, you will still have another Stormer, just all for her herself. Anyways, even though she doesn't, her summon does. As far as faction events, this is for Stonesong Eyrie, which is a brown-yellow restriction, though, of course, you're allowed to use any hero weapon currently in the game when it comes to faction events, at least currently. So for this, we're just running a pretty standard Guards Avatar, Surquat, and Headley, though for everything this week, of course, you can still run the Empower with the Egris, and you'll be good to go. For the higher end, of course, we just went with an Hiking Iron Gut with Catharix. However, this time around, we are using the Ehecatl for the mana accumulation. Of course, with the blue to yellow. In case Hiking Iron Gut dies, you won't even end up using blue anymore. But also, you end up getting that yellow storm. And this is what I was kind of mentioning before, where you don't have to use it in a pure Stryx team. This team doesn't use any Stryx, well, other than itself, of course. And it gets a lot of synergy here. Not only does it have the yellow storm to feed, yellow into literally everything, but you also get the immediate convert to also feed into everything, while also having the other storm. So even if they counter you on your starting storm, well, you just immediately go right back into your storm. So it's going to be really good even outside the context of a 4-time Stryx team. You don't have to use it with 4-time Stryx, even though that will be the more popular way to do it this week, as well as just generally into the future due to its Igris synergy. However, you can build it not into it, and it'll be perfectly fine. As far as the pure factions are concerned, it's basically just Harpy Mage into triple Queen Zachi. You can even just go 4 Queen Zachi if you want. The Harpy Mage, even if it dies, will get resummoned. This is mostly going to be from the 35% trait. And you have 3 of these 35%, which is not 100%. They all roll independently, though it is a very big percent that's like 70 or 80 something percent that you'll end up getting a Harpy Mage resummon there. So pretty high chance, and if it ever does die, well, it just gets replaced, and you just keep spamming Queen Zachi until you win. Harpy Mage for mana accumulation. If Harpy Mage dies, you have a billion resummon backup, and you're just good to go. As long as you have 1 Queen Zachi left, you should be good to go. Just keep chipping them down. As far as the Stormcaller hero class, this one is... Oh, I just realized we can't use... I just mentioned this earlier. We're actually not allowed to use Finesse here, are we? Whoops. Stormcaller class. Yeah, we'd have to use... Well, let me go put a link here, then. I think I did this for one of the other teams. But yeah, there we go. I fixed it. There's one little yellow link. So now we're using the Igris for the mana accumulation, the Phoenicia for the finisher, basically using like hero, the Ehecatl for the mana accumulation everywhere, and this for the 1 yellow link. For whatever reason, this is the only troop in this kingdom that has any yellow link, which is weird given how much yellow there is, but it is the only one currently available. Hopefully we'll get a better one in the future, as its ability is pretty underwhelming. but is currently the only thing within the kingdom that has +1 yellow. So if you're looking for that as an option to feed a little bit more mana into everything, well, it's the only thing you have, so it's what you're going to have to run with. Next, we have ourselves the Underspire team. So Underspire is basically pretty much the team you would run for the Journey event, with the main exception being that... Actually, isn't this almost the same thing I just built? Oh, wait, I think these are the same team now, aren't they? That's the only problem with the change I just made. I think these are literally the same team now, but oh well. Slightly different order, I think. However, yeah, similarly, given the restrictions of the game modes this week, they're going to be somewhat similar. And this one, we're just running a Egris Rush into Quetzalma, using the Empower. And of course, using this for its one little color link, as we were just mentioning earlier. And for the low rarity team, obviously we won't have the really high rarity thing. However, we can end up doing the same combo. I ended up going double Egris, so if you didn't end up getting multiple, you can simply just go another mana link like we did before. You can even incorporate hero if you want and put that into first slot. Kind of just offset it as a tank if you really need it. But we mostly just have double Egris here in case you end up dying on one Egris. You still have the backup Egris. And Queen Zachi does resummon Stryxes, so you will still have the full boost ratio for Egris, as Harpy Mage is a Stryx, of course, as you would expect. And because of that, you will still have the full boost ratio, even when your team becomes this, Harpy Mage, Ehecatl, Egris, and Queen Zachi. You will still have the full boost ratio for your Egris. So even if your first slot does die, it will get resummoned into Harpy Mage from Queen Zachi, and you will still get the full boost ratio for the full amount of gems off your Egris. Aside from that, let's go use one. So this is the Guild War Yellow Day, and probably the exact Guild War team I will run for tomorrow. It is Wand of Stars, Egris, Ehecatl, and Queen, or I keep saying Queen, Quetzalma. And we'll be running this for the Guild War Day. I'm not sure if I need to change anything with the class. Let's see, what do we currently have set up for group class? We have Extra Life, sure, why not? Purification, that's actually really useful. Cleanse on extra turn, though it does not work if you're stunned, keep that in mind. A little bit of extra yellow for all, extra magic for all of our yellow. Free Fairy Fire if something on our team somehow dies, because everything else does nothing. A little bit extra attack for all of our yellows, because everything else pretty much does nothing, unless you want to go for a little bit of life on green, I guess. Exploded Gem whenever you take an extra turn, otherwise you can go for green mana if you don't want that. And of course, the only real final trait that it has, especially with pure Stryx, is all Stryx allies gain 1 attack every single turn, which isn't a lot, but, you know, it adds up. But, yeah, let's go run this on a team. And you know what? We'll go run it against this. We were just talking about Fountain of Stars earlier. It has a somewhat similar issue to the Mythic we end up technically getting today. However, I feel like the Mythic we got today will be overall slightly better than Fountain of Stars. Fountain of Stars is a really consistent final trait, whereas this new one that we have has 4 times enchant, which is substantially more consistent. Okay, so we didn't have to deal with freeze. This is actually the whole reason why we have this team. This team has anti-freeze. So if we ever get frozen, we don't have to worry about it once we get rolling. The problem is once we get rolling. The caveat of that. But once we do, all we have to do is cast Wand as you normally would in order to get your 4 times Bless. And we are good to go. We have absolutely everything we need to now go win. We now click Egris on whatever the biggest threat is. In this case, it's going to be Zul'Goth. We then keep clicking that again forever until we have won. And that's pretty much the whole plan. If there's ever ever too much of a color, like for example, I was mentioning earlier, if there's ever too much of a color, we can actually see off of this. So for example, 12 purple. That's a little bit too much purple. Let's get rid of that purple. So I click on this, all the purple is gone, and then we go back to Egris. So if you ever see too much of a color you don't want, like right now, green. Oh, I don't have full mana though. So let me cast one more time. But let's say, is it still green? Red. Okay, there's too much red on the board. Let's get rid of the red. So we'll go and click on red, get our scatter, get everything damaged, get our extra turn, go back to Egris, rinse, repeat, win, and just keep doing that until you've won. And we can pretty much click whatever we want, and it'll be fine. Not literally, but you know. This is a general strategy. Just keep cycling between these two. Use this one to clear whatever's most populated. Keep going back to Egris, and it is the strongest, I would say, we've had of any Journey team so far. At least my personal favorite. The other one that is my other favorite was, of course, the Dragon one. Just because we have access to the gem dragons like Diamantina, Rubraf, stuff like that was really good with it. However, this one's pretty high up there too because of the Egris, Ehecatl, Quetzalma combo. And then, of course, you have like one flexible slot that you could do for either extra mana accumulation. You can go finesse for extra damage. You can go pretty much anything you want. Really just depends what you want to roll with. And it's pretty flexible. And in this case, obviously, for Guild War, we're using it for its 4 times Bless. Technically 4 times Curse if we want it as well, but mostly for the 4 times Bless as an anti-freeze. As one of the biggest issue with this triple combo is the lack of freeze protection. But all you need to do is Bless, and you've gotten yourself your freeze protection. But anyways, guys, that is the new troops. They are insanely good. We'll be messing with the new Mythic tonight. But even if you can't end up getting that, you are going to be perfectly fine with the new Empower troop and the new Egris. Which are some of the best troops we've gotten in a very, very long time. I'm not sure why. They always like doing that in December. For whatever reason, like the last month of every year, feel like we always get like that one really good meta option, though I guess we got 2 today instead. But yeah, they're really good. Definitely advise messing around with them. Also, highly advise using shiny keys to get it upgraded to at least level 2 if you can. You will get 5 for free from the event, assuming you go deep enough into the journey event as a guild, which means you only need to get 10 of those tokens. As you just saw, we got 5 of them during this video, and I'll get another 5, probably just open them later on stream or something once we can actually get it all the way max. And then boom, we'll be good to go. If you happen to have bought in the head start last weekend, you would only end up needing to get 5. So how many we got during this video would already be enough. But if you have some shiny keys, I think you can get it with about 50 on average, give or take. Keep in mind it can take more, but I feel like with 50, you're pretty guaranteed to get it. Could take more, could take less. It's kind of hard to tell because of how wide of a RNG range it has. But we got a little lucky there since we got like 5 of them in one single pull. By like our second or third pull, so that was pretty lucky. But anyways, best of luck if you're going to be trying for anything. New Mythic's still available until Friday reset, end of Thursday. And yeah, definitely make sure to mess around with those 2 new troops. They are insanely good and usable for pretty much every mode we have going on this week. Hope you all have a wonderful week. Feel free to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Helps a lot and is greatly, greatly appreciated. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave in the comment section below. All the teams mentioned in the video in the description as per usual. And I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone. And thanks for watching.